What's up everybody, Matt Moran here for a very crazy video I didn't think I'd be making. So this whole week has been very crazy, and it's a big long story, but basically I'm driving home from selling the Mustang GT, which, like I said, did not see coming at all. Trust me, I'm just as shocked as you are. So let me unpack all this here. Monday, I went to go check out the repair progress of the Mustang GT at the body shop, Steel Auto Body. They're great guys, and so I was checking out the car, and it was still, as you can see here, in pieces, not even ready for paint or anything yet. So it was going to be a little while still. They still were planning to have it ready by the 28th, but it could have been pushed back even a little bit more. But anyway, so there was an additional supplemental for the claim, which is very common, and so they found whenever they're taking stuff apart, there was an additional couple structural pieces that needed replaced, and also one of the taillights had some stress cracks in it. Whenever they took it out, they could see those, and so they had to replace that. So the estimate ended up climbing to $13,500, which is still not enough to total the car. But the guy that owns the body shop is really a friend of mine, and we met through a mutual friend, and he's a really cool guy, and he actually just was like, do you have any interest in selling this car? And I was like, well, not really, but I mean, it depends on the offer. And he's like, I'm still gonna fix it either way. So he's like, it's not like, it's being totaled or anything like that. But he's like, if you want, he's like, I'll basically pay off the car, whatever it is that I owe on it. I mean, I only bought the car a year ago, so I still owed a good amount on it, $26,000 or so. And so he's like, I'll pay that. And he's like, I'm kind of interested in it. He's like, I also have someone else that's interested in it. But in the meantime, he's just gonna drive it himself. So $26,000 was too good of an offer for me to pass up, because that's basically trade-in value for the car if it had never been in an accident. And I actually had my buddies at Hoffman Ford run a trade-in quote for what they would give me for the car, hypothetically, and even with just the one accident on the Carfax, before the second one has even shown up, they said that they would only probably be able to give somewhere between 22 to 23 and a half. So, and then that could go down even a little bit more depending on the second accident, and then obviously, of course, once the miles accumulate and time progresses, by the time I was going to trade it in for a Bullet, if that ever happens next year or whatever, it'd be a big hit. And so I kind of saw this as a way to avoid a negative equity situation. I mean, I could have just kept the car and driven the wheels off of it and been fine, but if I want to be in a good position to get a Bullet or some other 2018 possibly next year, then I didn't want to have myself in a bad situation where it's impossible to trade the car in, or it's hard to unload it because dealers are scared of it, or they're wanting to lowball me, and things like that. I mean, that's a fair price though, because right, I mean, I'm not going to pay blue book value for a car that's been hit twice. I wouldn't want that car. So it's just, that's the way it goes. It's worth less, and so there's no fault of the dealers or anyone. It's just the way it works. And so, like I said, when he said 26, I was like, I can't turn that down. So yeah, I signed away the car here today. I mailed in the payoff check, and so as far as the big question of what is going to happen next, your guess is kind of as good as mine, because it's still really up in the air, and that's why I was holding off on doing an update here until now to give you guys the lowdown on everything. But I don't know what's going to happen yet. So there's two. So basically, before the accident, I loved my car. I wanted my car. I wanted to keep my car. I didn't want to get any other cars. I wanted my car. So I know everyone's like, buy a Shelby or buy an F-Type, or buy whatever. And while those cars are potentially in my price range now, they don't make enough sense financially as far as fitting into my life. A car that I drive in the snow, a car that I do use the back seat from time to time, all those types of things. The Shelby is just kind of hard to drive in the snow, a little too special. Snow tires are a lot more expensive since they're much wider and all that kind of stuff, and I'd feel bad driving a Shelby in the snow. And then F-Type, same deal basically, plus it doesn't have a back seat. So yeah, I just want my car. So I found two other Guard GTs, 2016s, that are very similar to mine. There's two different ones, and they both have an appearance package. It's different appearance packages, so depending on which car I get is which appearance package I get for the cars. And there's a few other minor differences, but basically they're very, very similar cars to mine, similar miles and everything like that. So I'm not sure what's going to happen. I was pretty set on the one, but then I found out as I was getting ready to make a deposit on it that someone else was working a deal on it, and that person is still in the approval process and trying to get a co-signer, and that's being held up. So in the meantime, thankfully, I found another vehicle. Both of them are out of state, though, so they're going to involve either trips or shipping and stuff. So hopefully this won't take too long, because this rental is over on Friday, and I don't want to, be driving family members' cars forever. And I know a lot of people also suggested drive a beater, buy a beater, but I do a lot of driving, especially with the past year getting hit twice now. I want to be in a very safe car, not a little beater that has dated safety technology and stuff like that. Since I can avoid it. I mean, I know that certain people are in a situation where they don't have that luxury, but since I can't afford a newer car, I definitely want to get something newer. I know that I'm also kind of considering just getting a different color new 2017 that's left over, since there's killer deals on those right now, and you can get 0% financing and all kind of stuff, which could potentially help again if I plan to flip it in less than a year or a year or so. So that's also on the table. But so like I said, this whole week has been crazy. So I've been arranging all this stuff and like working deals on multiple cars, and it's been nuts. In addition to obviously doing the normal channel stuff, editing reviews and stuff, which keeps me busy enough as it is. So as you can see, I'm a little flustered. I'm a little just bummed too, because it's one of those things, like, I didn't want to ever sell this car. If I was going to sell it, I was going to sell it for a bullet, and that's it. Otherwise, I plan to keep that car the rest of my life. But as many of you probably know, life doesn't go according to plan very often, and you have to make the best of whatever hand you're dealt, whatever situation you get. And I felt like this was the best decision financially in order to get out of the car, before, the value goes way, way down, and, be able to get a good value for it now. And hopefully, whatever loan I get, on the following car doesn't, put me in a negative equity situation. But even if it does, at least I have a car with a clean Carfax. So when I go to trade in, I can, try and get top dollar for it, and not have a bunch of hoops to jump through and all that kind of stuff. So I think it's the right choice. And I mean, I'm not superstitious, but again, the car was hit twice by freak accidents, in less than a year. So it's, I felt like it was probably best to move on, and I felt good about it. I felt really sad, but it sounds like, either if the body shop owner keeps it, or if his interested buyer decides to buy it, both are very cool guys that are into cars, that will enjoy it. And so, yeah, these two replacement car GTs aren't perfect like that one was to me, but they're very, very close, and I am fairly confident there will be a bullet. And so, it'll be a fine car in the meantime, and could be a car I could potentially keep them, forever as well, with a couple light modifications exterior-wise. And so, but we'll just have to wait and see. But anyway, that's the whole update for you guys. I apologize for the shock and the out of nowhere, out of the blue kind of announcement here. But yeah, so I'll certainly keep you guys posted on what all develops here. It could involve a fun little road trip, depending on which car I go with, and I will take you guys along for that if that does end up happening. But yeah, so yes, just be sure to stay subscribed, follow along here, and yeah, thank you guys very much for watching. I'll see you next time. Take care.